So you know that old saying about not judging a book by its cover? Yeah, well, this is the cover of Mystery of the Druids. I think we're done here. All right, so that's a little bit unfair. I mean, it wouldn't be the first game to have had deeply awful box art, but then turn out to be a really interesting, clever, extremely cool game. Toonstruck, Planescape Torment, Mega Man. Maybe Mystery of the Druids is secretly a fantastic adventure that just had the misfortune of making itself a laughingstock with this guy, and in so doing prevented anyone from seeing its true glory. So, is it? No! Alright, I'll stop doing that, I promise. But wow! I mean, I'm not sure I'd say that Mysteries of Druids is one of the worst adventures I've ever played, but then I've played a lot of bad adventures. It's certainly a contender, saved only by being so bad that it's hilarious, as you'd about expect from a non-strategy game published by CDV, the digital typhoid Marys of games like Jack Keen and Lula 3D. Now, on the development side, it was created by a German company called House of Tales, one of the first after the 7th or so Death of Adventure games to try and revive the genre. There's a few reasons why you've probably never heard of them, though this exchange from their second game, The Moment of Silence, does sum it up quite well.
I'm considering to just go over and ask if everything's all right.
To those felons? Maybe that's not such a good idea. It's better not to get involved in any kind of stories. Who knows what kind of people they are? Maybe they're terrorists.
Criminals. Terrorists. There's a woman and a kid over there.
You don't know that.
The only thing I know is that my neighbors just went through a terrible ordeal. And I also know that I do care.
Yeah, translation is tricky, but setting a game in a foreign country is just asking for double trouble, especially something like this that wants Stonehenge to be this isolated place of murder and mystery, when in fact it's next to a busy main road and there's a gift shop. It kind of takes the edge off this being a Broken Sword style thriller, and that's even before you get to this guy and his many, many internet friends. But let's be fair and check this out, and after all, how bad could it be if CDV proudly presents it? Proudly. They wouldn't lie about something like that. And to give it credit, this is quite a nicely atmospheric intro. I mean, you've got to feel sorry for this guy, who clearly rushed to get a good position only to end up stuck behind a pillar, but aside from that, this all seems pretty well organised. The only thing that could possibly go wrong is if someone maybe had an accident while lighting up a sneaky cigarette and... oh shit. And now we have evil babies. This is probably not going to be the toughest boss fight in the history of the world when it finally comes round. But all that's for later. For now, we have to meet our hero, a proud detective of Scotland Yard. Spoiler, they will not come out of this looking good. In any way.
Now get out of here! Get the hell out of my sight! And if I have any more trouble with you, you'll be dishing out parking tickets before long. That's a promise, Lowry! Oh, and here's my good friend Halligan, another one of the invaluable detectives of our glorious murder squad. Don't just stand there gaping, come in. I'm glad you could make it. After all, you're a busy man, aren't you? Now look here, Detective Halligan. I've got used to being surrounded by a bunch of incompetent, half-baked blockheads, but your smart, well-dressed colleague Lowry has just earned himself the golden badge of stupidity. Halligan, we've got a bit of a problem. We've had an innocent man locked up in jail. Regrettably, he was killed in prison before we could correct our mistake. Unfortunate affair. And now we've got this lunatic killer running around all over London. We have to make sure that at least this oversight is put right. Your clear-up rate so far ought to be sufficient evidence that there's no point in asking you to clear up anything more than a common bicycle theft. But this does happen to be the murder squad. I am the chief of this department. All I have for choice is that blockhead Lowry and you.
Okay, Chief. What do you want me to do?
Yes, this is Brent Halligan, and oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I'm not sure if he's actually a detective or just a hobo who stumbled in one day and was able to pass for one, but Sherlock Holmes he is not. But before we get to see the true depths of his incompetence, just take a moment to listen to this music. Doesn't it just scream Scotland Yard? Is that the sound of someone just hammering randomly on keys? Well, that's okay. That's how most of the puzzles were designed. As for Halligan, though, he's, well, you'll see. His office is a bomb site, his personal life is a shambles, his socks have randomly wound up in his filing cabinets, I don't even want to know the story behind that one, and his taste is... Look, no taste justifies having that picture on the wall where other people are going to see it. You'd almost think he's trying just a little bit too hard to be English with a capital E.
Al's Pizza Palace makes the best pizza in the whole of London.
Wait, what was that?
Unfortunately, there's no pizza in there anymore.
Good grief. No wonder his colleagues hate his guts.
I know that you'll say no, but I have to ask for your help.
You do actually need help, Halligan. But not from me. Try a social worker. Well?
Do you know how to operate the copying machine?
Yes, I do.
And will you tell me?
Just guess.
Yes?
Nearly right. No would have been the correct answer, but you nearly got it, old boy.
Well, there's no reason to stay where we're not wanted. The setup of this game is there's been a series of strange ritual murders, dubbed the skeleton murders, in a way that kind of suggests the police haven't been particularly quick off the mark here. In fact, as we join the game, the whole thing has been a bit of a disaster. With them arresting the wrong man, who subsequently got murdered in jail.
Well, all right, these things happen.
Thanks for that, Halligan. Having scientific advisors who can't distinguish gender from bones, in a way that most people could probably manage after seeing an episode of Bones. And apparently the police have loosened up their entry requirements enough to allow cannibals to openly join the force.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning, Detective. I hope you've had a good breakfast. The sight over there is not very appetizing.
Here's our first crime scene, which I like to think of as the hidden object game murder for the way that it's been so carefully integrated into it. Halligan, of course, immediately rushes in and starts yoinking bones out of it, and also some burnt grass, because keeping crime scenes for the forensic guys is for wusses. Besides, who needs Temperance Brennan on your back when your forensic lab has Bill Nye the Science Guy?
What do you think about this?
This is grass, Halligan.
Do you notice anything about it?
The grass looks slightly burnt, I'd say.
Case closed! Oh shit, wait, the bones. Well, luckily Bill here is good enough to be able to not only judge the sex of the victim from the thigh bone, to me the pelvis or something would seem more useful, but to psychically assess it from a distance while it's still in Halligan's pocket. I think we might be seeing why Scotland Yard got the wrong guy so quickly the last time. Could we not get someone a bit more competent to head up this investigation? You know, like maybe Hopkins FBI? Or Lula 3D? Well, Bill's suggestion is that if we want to know more, and by that I mean anything at all, we should go and speak to an old anthropologist friend of his in Oxford about the bone that we collected. Okay. And so, an hour's drive later, Halligan arrives to find that a smarter person would have phoned ahead and found out that it was already closed for renovation. So now what? Well, just because the museum is closed to guests doesn't mean there's nobody still working there, right? So let's do the adventure thing and wander around a bit and see if there's anything that might help us. I mean, not much immediately springs to mind. I mean, to the right there's a phone booth, but that's not going to be much use for now because Halligan was an even bigger idiot before the game started than he spends most of it being. I know, I don't quite believe it either, but, you know, it's true. Just check out this conversation with his rival, fellow detective Lowry.
Could you lend me some change?
You haven't found your wallet, have you? Well, sorry, Halligan, but this is Scotland Yard, not the Bank of England.
The Bank of England is the central clearing bank, Lowry. You can't draw any money there.
And elsewhere in Oxford, there's just a sad-looking tramp. Of course, Halligan, being our hero, is very sympathetic.
Just leave it. I've lost everything. Everything. No money, no flat, no future. I'm finished. Simply finished.
Have you tried working?
Listen, mate.
But wait. Wait. A phone booth on the right, which we can't use because we don't have any money. A tramp to the left, with a few measly coins in his hat. Warning. What follows is one of the most infamous puzzles in crap adventure game history. We are talking cat hair moustache level. You have been warned. Yes, Halligan, a Scotland Yard detective, is about to steal money from a tramp to make a phone call. This is a thing that is about to happen. Someone was sitting there designing this game and they thought, hey, I've got an idea for a puzzle, and it turns out they were wrong. But wait, it's even worse than you think, because it's not as if we can just swipe the coins from his hat and then you run away giggling. First, we have to drive all the way back to London, where... just watch.
Something I wanted to ask you, Chris. What do those flasks contain?
Oh, you mean those on the shelves? They contain all sorts of different chemicals I need for my work. Indicator solutions, alcohol, things like that.
Why do you need alcohol for your work?
Certainly not in order to drink it, Halligan. We use alcohols as solvents. Most types are poisonous anyway.
You've got a great job, Chris. Masses of alcohol and everything legal.
Nonsense, Halligan. Do you think we spend all day getting drunk with medical alcohol? Why don't you just try the stuff?
Sure, no problem.
Here, Brent, to your health. What's up? Go ahead, try it. You won't get one of these so often.
All right, here we go. Cheers.
To your health, Brent. An interesting aroma.
Isn't it? Brent, aren't you feeling very well? Brent, are you sure you're okay?
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Now, most people would take this as an indicator that this was a really stupid thing to do and never think about doing it ever again. Halligan, however, thinks, hey, idea, a little medicinal alcohol, a touch of apple juice for taste, and presto, everything a noble Scotland Yard detective needs to poison a beggar and steal his money to make a phone call. Now, you're probably thinking, damn. But wait, you know what makes this worse? And yes, this gets worse. It's not that this involves at least 1 2-hour round trip to get the alcohol. No, it's not even the fact that Halligan is so broke that getting a few coins to make a phone call counts as a puzzle. It's not even that after going through all of this, all that he learns is that Professor Turner is away. No. It's the fact that at Scotland Yard, you know, where he went to get the alcohol, he has a desk phone. I'm sorry, what was that? The single fan of Mystery of the Druids complaining there? That's all explained?
Haven't you got your own telephone, Halligan?
I just wanted to try something.
And what, if I might ask? Try to get a dialing tone?
How do you know that?
Someone in accounts has had a look at the department's telephone bills, Halligan, and you're the record holder by a very, very wide margin. Your phone will only work internally from now on. Janet told me that when we went to the cinema. Where do you keep calling to anyway? The Caribbean?
I don't think that's got anything to do with you, Lowry.
Oh, yes, okay, of course, sure. It's none of my business. But if you think that you can make your phone calls from here, you're dead wrong.
No! No points, no forgiveness. Bad game in every sense.
Yes, right. I just forgotten it.
Anyway, back at the museum, again, he finds out that while the professor he needs to see is away, his daughter Melanie is around, and conveniently also an anthropologist.
It is very urgent.
Now, to give Halligan credit, he does immediately come up with the idea of, maybe you could help me if your father isn't here.
Yes, just one.
And then, of course, he bones her. Yup, he gives her FEMA. FEMA all through the night, he gives her FEMA. And she studies it intensely. And even becomes playable.
You wait a moment?
Now, Melanie is certainly more competent at her job than Halligan, though I do have to question certain elements of her specialisation. First, it's sacrificial rites, creepy. Then you find out that magazines like these are her favourites. And unfortunately, this is one of those annoying puzzles where you're somehow expected to be an expert in a field that you clearly aren't, as well as the room being full of random useless crap, all made worse when, having sliced off a piece of bone and discovered it was just cut with a sickle and there's gold residue in a crack and all that kind of stuff, Melanie's actual findings are just, oh yeah, I saw an article about that, you know, in her magazine. Expert in her field indeed. Cutting all of this stuff down, the shocking discovery is that the murders are strangely reminiscent of druidic ritual rites. Or at least it would probably be shocking in a game not called, you know, Mystery of the Druids. Needless to say, the two of them decide to team up and try and solve this together, and maybe squeeze in a little bit of sexual tension as time permits.
Mr. Halligan? I believe I've found something interesting about your bone.
A feeling not wholly unfamiliar to you.
Cue the boring exposition section of the game, in which we have to go and see a bloke called Arthur Blake, and everything is explained surprisingly early on to anyone not distracted by his animations. I am not going to put you through this, but it's about 7 hours of talking, give or take, which boils down to this. The ancient Druids in 1000 AD put their power into 5 babies, the Inheritors, who have since then been stealing life force and planning for the end of the world. Sadly, they're not still doing this as babies, because that would have been the absolute best thing ever. Luckily, we can cut this down pretty easily. There's a magic amulet which will right royally screw up the Druids' plans, blah blah blah, we're done here. Halligan, of course, immediately buys into every word of this, and then the man who had to poison a beggar for phone money is casually skipping across to France to look for a millennia-old MacGuffin. As you do. Only, since they couldn't find anyone who could do a French accent, they didn't bother.
What do you know about the castle?
Not much. It's supposed to have belonged to a rich family around here many centuries ago. As a child, I used to play in the ruins with my friends, but it's not really safe to go walking around in the rubble.
Pierre says you're from Carmore, like he is. Is that true?
Yes, that's right. I grew up here. As a youngster, I wanted to be a fisherman and used to work on my father's trawler. Later, I went to Naval College to become a captain of the Merchant Navy of France. I have a small house at the end of the road, just behind Francois' Bistro.
Mon Dieu. It's even worse when you find that the main character here's whole puzzle revolves around him being incredibly fussy and proud of his French heritage, yet still talks like this. Seriously, I'd say this was phoned in, but I dread to think how many beggars would have died to do that. And while we're on the subject, I'm pretty sure that French castles don't have names like Schloss von Carmors. It's not even close to the German border. Anyway, it's not particularly clear what we're looking for in France, except that it's stuff, and somewhere in the stuff there will probably be a magic amulet. Cue lots of incredibly boring conversations about fishing and a spooky local castle, not all of which unlock properly because this game hates you. Well, the upshot of this is that you end up at this ruined castle in search of that amulet that's been missing for over 1,000 years and searched for by an all-knowing, all-powerful druidic cult for which it is the only thing that can shatter their apocalyptic plans. But hey, you're feeling lucky. A little salt here, a quick bone there, and boom! Druidic magic is really that easy, even when you aren't a druid, and have no reason to suppose this will work, and have had no training, or at least none that counts.
How can salt destroy a whole castle?
Through the magic of the Druids. Salt is a destructive element. It corrodes, it decomposes, it parches. It can make people die of thirst.
Yeah, there's no jump at all from salt makes you thirsty to salt will destroy a castle. This being Mystery of the Druids, though, salt isn't just something you find on every restaurant table. No, if you want some, first you have to catch a cat in a scarf to knock a fisherman's bait into the water so he'll leave his rod so you can steal it and combine it with a bucket and scrape some off the sides of a ferry. Why do I play these fucking games? Well, anyway, there's the amulet, so that means the world is saved, right? We'll just leave it here where it absolutely won't be stolen, and oh god damn it, Halligan, you complete ass. Okay, this could be worse. There's still a chance at least. I mean, the thief is still on this boat, and we are supposedly a trained Scotland Yard detective. We just have to work out the culprit before we get back to England, and they have a chance to run away and...
Blast it. The thief must still be on board, but we're pulling into the harbour. I'll never catch him now.
Well, okay, look, it could be worse. At least now we can use the full resources of Scotland Yard to continue this investigation, and this should be no trouble. Unless, of course, the boss has somehow realised that all of his detectives are a bunch of incompetent beggar-poisoning fools who are honestly better kept as far away from law and order as possible.
Halligan, into my office at once.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good.
When do you expect to come up with results?
I'm getting there, Chief, but it takes time.
Takes time? Takes time? Will I ever get to hear anything else from a detective? Where the heck have you been, Halligan?
You'll get a report at the end of the week.
The end of the week? Why not at the end of the month or at the end of the year? I want the results on my desk tomorrow morning, Halligan. And now, I want to know where you've been all this time.
You'll find out when you read the report I'm going to write.
Don't be impertinent, Detective. As your chief, I'm entitled to ask you about the results of investigations and your proceedings whenever I like.
Yes, Chief, of course.
That sounds better. Otherwise, I could have you write a report about every single step of your proceedings, and I think you know that.
Very well, then. I was visiting an expert on Druids.
You were what? Halligan, have you lost your marbles? You're not supposed to be indulging in your hobbies. You're supposed to be solving the skeleton murders.
Is that all, Chief?
No, that is not all. One of the phone calls this morning was from the 4th District in Oxford.
Uh-huh. And?
A beggar has been to see them. He claimed that somebody had first put him to sleep and then robbed him. And do you know who that person was? No? A man who calls himself Detective Halligan! Our colleagues looked into the Central Personal Database, and guess what? They found a man by the name of Detective Halligan. And he works for my department! What do you say to that?
When did you receive the phone call from our colleagues?
Oh, less than half an hour ago. Have you any idea how embarrassed I was about the affair? The colleague I talked to said that the beggar still had some of the substance he'd been knocked out with. Medical alcohol with apple juice. Halligan, please tell me you didn't do it.
I had nothing to do with it, Chief. Honestly.
Well, I hope so, for your benefit. From now on, I expect you to start looking into the case at hand.
Okay, Chief. I read you.
Indeed? Excellent, Detective. Then get out and do your job. And, Halligan, if I should hear that you are conducting your investigations in any dubious or illegal way, I'll take you off the case immediately.
Understood, Chief.
I cannot argue this. But, let's give Halligan some credit. He did at least try to drink that alcohol himself first, and he checked that it was probably survivable. I mean, it's not as if he ever actively tries to put civilians in grave danger, just on a casual whim.
One more thing, Mr. Blake.
Yes?
I get the impression this business could get pretty dangerous from now on.
Yes. Very likely, Mr. Halligan.
It may be safer for both of us if we let someone else in on the matter. Please call Melanie Turner in Oxford and tell her the whole story.
Yes. Okay. Well, all of this gets Brent the name of a spooky group called The Circle, which frankly should be ashamed of itself for not having come up with a better name in over 1,000 years. Now, tracking this down presumably only narrows things down to about 74,000 potential suspects. But since only one of those is run by an aristocrat, I think we all know where we're going next. Anyway, before rushing over there, let's at least do one competent thing in this game and update Melanie on the plans, just in case anything should happen here. I mean, who better to have your back than an anthropologist?
Yes? Who's there?
Is that Lord Sinclair?
No, sir. I'm sorry. I am his lordship's butler.
Scotland Yard. Please open the door.
I regret that his lordship does not receive beggars, salesmen, and police officers as a matter of principle, sir.
Oh, poor Lord Sinclair. Don't you realise what you've just done? You've just put a locked door in the way of an adventure game character. Bad move, sir. Bad move.
How do you do, Mr. Halligan? How nice of you to visit us.
You know my name?
Certainly. Lord Sinclair has been expecting you.
He has? Is that boss of yours some kind of psychic or what?
Why don't you ask him that yourself? Let's go.
Mr. Halligan, it is a great pleasure to meet you in person at long last.
The pleasure's mine. Would you mind telling your charming pet gorilla here to point his damn pistol somewhere else?
Please forgive us this precautionary measure, Mr. Halligan. I happen to be a distrustful man. Jack.
Lord Sinclair, now that we've met, there are a few questions I'd really like to ask you.
Certainly, certainly. After dinner I will answer any questions you deign to ask me. Until then, please be my guest. Jack, please be good enough to show our guest to his chamber.
You do not seem to be quite aware of the situation you are in, Lord Sinclair. I'm a detective from Scotland Yard. I don't want to have dinner with you. I'm here because of a series of murders in which you are a prime suspect.
With all due respect, Mr. Halligan, I took you for a wiser man than that. If anyone here is unaware of the situation they are in, you are. I have asked you to be my guest at dinner. Please don't disappoint me by refusing. Otherwise, I will have to ask Jack here to persuade you to stay in his own way.
I understand. I'm to stay here voluntarily, because if I don't, you'll force me. Is that it?
I'm glad we've settled that. Now, if you would please follow my friend Jack, he will show you to your room. We will discuss everything else in detail later, over dinner.
Let's go.
Okay, so this looks bad, but come on, he's not necessarily an evil druid. I mean, look, his house seems okay. There's a bowl of fruit over there for guests, a little cultured plant life to add to the mood. I don't see anything here that even looks particularly sinister, except, okay, yes, so there's that. I think it's time to start the escape bit immediately. Okay, let's see, how are we going to do this? Alright, so we've got a locked door, we've got a locked window. No real help there. The plant, we could throw the plant through the window, but I'm gonna assume we're too high up. That's not gonna work. Let's see. Adventure game. No. Oh, they wouldn't. Oh, even a game this shitty wouldn't have gone that low as to have the guard leave the key in the lock, just so that we could with the painting and the nail and the pushing it and the. Dear adventure game developers everywhere, stop doing this puzzle, 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 stop doing this puzzle! I have taken my pills. I feel much better now.
Hey,
and it's time for Halligan to finally see his enemy in their full glory. My God, that's horrible. Clearly he's not going to take this sitting down. He is going to jump right up there and kick their robed asses back to 1000 AD. He is not going to let anything stop him. He is going to rise up and become the hero that we all knew he was going to be. But not before the pudding course, obviously, because that would just be rude.
Well, Mr. Halligan, I don't believe I have introduced you to the gentlemen of my club yet. This is General Myers of the British Army. Next to him is Bishop Stevenson. The Earl of Sutcliffe, one of the Queen's closest advisors. And the gentleman sitting beside you is Mr. Smothers of the Worldwide Foods Corporation. I'm sure you're curious to learn what our club is all about. But I would suggest you have a bite to eat first. You look pale. You see, Mr. Halligan, you must know we have been following your investigations into these, shall we say, deaths in London for some time. I expect your experience in the park will have convinced you that we are, to a certain degree, responsible for these incidents. As you may have noticed, the meat we are eating at this meal has a rather unique flavor. It is human flesh, Mr. Halligan. This flesh is the source of life force. It grants us strength and power. You will soon discover the incomparable feeling of power for yourself. It will be grander than any feeling you have ever felt. Very soon now, when the day of the ritual's completion has come, our power will be perfect. Then it will be time for the curse that will put an end to the wretched hustle and bustle of this world and make room for something grand and new, a world ruled by Druids. I must admit your investigations had us worried for a moment, Mr. Halligan. We had even made plans to put a stop to them by arranging a little accident. But you are a very lucky man. You will witness the great day yourself, and you will be there on the right side. For by eating this flesh, you have become one of us. Welcome to the circle, Mr. Halligan.
Now luckily, as you'll remember, Halligan prepared some backup, and it's time for Melanie to show up. Cue the theme.
Stop right there!
Stealth minigames, the only thing worse than the that puzzle.
Hey.
Well, let's try that again, and this time try not to suck at it. Not least because every time you fail, and you will fail because it's really not clear what you're meant to do, you have to go through a really long cutscene before being allowed to reload a save. This took about 7 attempts. I really wish I was exaggerating. Now once inside, idiotic puzzles await, obviously, but soon enough Melanie has solved them and she has the amulet back. Yay! And then, okay, I should probably put a trigger warning on this one, seriously. If you have any love for drama, for animation, for the basic nature of thrillers, then you may find the following sequence disturbingly funny.
Mr. Halligan! God, what a relief! What was that for? Have you gone mad? What's wrong, Brent? Why are you hitting me?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh, God, stop it! What's the matter with you? Don't you recognize me? Brent, stop it!
Well, that was the easiest counter-brainwashing ever. But how will our heroes escape this terrible place, the heart of the evil Druid Empire, the sinister puppet masters who control the entire world, surrounded by guards? I swear, I have not edited this at all.
What's going on in there? Open the door! Open it at once!
The guards, Brent, they're at the door. We have to leave.
Open the door! Jack, get the key!
Yeah, Melanie, I think you're right. We really should get out of here. And we should do it now. We made it.
Yes, thank God.
Well, it seems like we now have everything that we need to stop the evil druids, but there's another CD of this game left to go, so it's probably going to take a little bit longer. The next puzzle involves translating a druidic parchment and is far too boring to even bother recapping, especially when it's full of nonsense like this.
Gate of the Worlds? What's that supposed to be?
You know, Mr. Halligan, the Celts did not regard reality and time as insurmountable facts. On the contrary, they regarded them as illusions, which man's laziness and ignorance made him incapable of overcoming. Celtic shrines were always special places that allowed them to leave the normality of everyday reality. Celtic myths claim that 12 Bridges has been a consecrated site for millennia. A place where the body can step over into another time.
Now I will, however, give Mystery of the Druids 1 point, one tiny point, for suggesting that now that the group has the medallion, they simply melt it to keep it out of the baddie's reach. Not enough heroes are willing to cut the Gordian knot in that way, and while there is a reason why it's not going to work here, I really like that Halligan is smart to bring it up. It now loses that point, along with 50,000 more, for this puzzle, in which you need a small piece of wire to trigger a car alarm, and you have to find it in the pixel bitchiest pixel in the entire sordid bloody history of pixel bitching. Even if you know it's somewhere on this screen, good luck spotting it. Need a hint? It's there. God damn you, Mystery of the Druids. Anyway, to finish our research, we need one final piece, a book called Celtic Orthographic Systems. I mean, of course, Old Celtic Alphabets. I mean the Celtic literary system. You know, I'm starting to think this isn't a very good game.
Here's the book you asked for.
Anyway, with this
yes.
we have everything that we need to
Excellent.
get to the heart of the
Thank you,
Druids'
Mr. Halligan.
plans,
Well,
unless,
did
of
you
course,
have any
they
difficulties
say
with
decide
Mrs.
to use
Owen?
some of their magic to try and blow us up from space.
What's going on out there?
What is it? What's happening?
Leave me! Get out of the danger zone! Here, take the parchment and go!
Come along, Mr. Blake. Let's get out of here.
You get out of here. I'll follow you. Get out of here! Quickly, run!
I believe you have something of mine, Mr. Halligan. I shall give you until sunset to give my property back to me.
Oh, God! Mr. Blake! I have to go back and get him out of there.
Are you crazy? Don't go. It's pointless. You can't help him anymore. He's dead.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my God, what an inferno. Let's get out of here, Melanie. Otherwise we'll be next.
Well, that certainly shits on our chips. So now what? The villain has unstoppable magic power, all of our allies in high places have gone, and we can't even go back to the yard because Sinclair has too many friends in high places and we'd at least get suspended and probably arrested if we tried. Well, clearly the only sensible option is to go back in time and stop him while he was still a mewling baby overlord. Yes, we're going back in time. This game just became the Terminator of the Druids, and the only thing standing in our way is this completely intact bridge. Oh, come on, you could drive a car across that. You're fine. Fortunately, with that little bit of stupidity out of the way, all that's left is for Melanie to do her impression of a Doctor Who companion, and for her and Brent to go back in time!
Hey!
Oh my God, Brent!
So, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato.
We haven't moved even a single inch from where we started out, have we?
Look, the bridge is a hole again.
If you ask me, the bridges are still whole. We've landed in a time when this whole place was still completely intact. We've traveled back in time.
Do you really think so?
Uh-oh, here comes company.
They look like soldiers.
Don't panic. Let's find out what they want.
This would incidentally have been a much bigger reveal if the game's two data CDs hadn't been called The Present and The Past. Well, thankfully this half of the game is a good deal shorter than the first half and largely made up of puzzles that we can just describe as this shit and that shit and more shit over here, and none of it is worth caring about for even a moment. Just for a flavour of what I had to put up with though, Melanie wakes up from having been knocked out by soldiers to find herself trapped in a kitchen, of course, serving a couple of soldiers who think she's a Danish spy and want her to cook for them. This is Melanie's first puzzle in the past, and I think we can sum it up pretty well with this scene of her pouring a bowl of boiling water down her pants to go and make someone a love potion. Watch the writers make the entire audience writhe in discomfort at that. You know, I never thought I'd ask this, but what's Halligan up to?
Damn it. Now where am I? My arms aren't long enough.
So you are the stranger who came to us through the Gate of the Worlds. We meet at last. I am very pleased to see you.
Oh, yes? I can't say the feeling's mutual. I want to get out of here. This minute. Who are you, anyway?
Hush. Be calm. Nothing will happen to you here. I am your friend.
My friend? That's a lie. I can do without friends like you.
We have been expecting you. We need you. You are the one all our hopes are hanging on.
What's that? You've been expecting me? That's impossible. I came here from the year 2000. You can't even know I exist.
You came to us through the Gate of the Worlds. He who comes through this gate has the power to alter the course of history.
On the plus side, they have at least this time been captured by someone relevant, and Halligan does get some historical answers in the form of Magla here, a nice druid. Though when I say nice, I am speaking somewhat relatively. Well, we do at least now have the identity of the villain, this evil druid called Surstan. But that's just Maglar's perspective talking, of course. We have to be fair here. There's always a chance that his plan to conquer the future by burning his brethren alive and sticking their souls into babies is just some misunderstanding.
You? What do you want?
I take it you're Surstan, am I right?
And you are the man who came all the way here just to let me kill him. What do you want? Is the little bit of life I've granted you too much for you?
I've come to offer you a deal.
A deal? You are offering me a deal? You overrate your importance. I will not do deals with you.
I know something that you can't know.
What might that be?
I won't tell you until you give me your word that you will let me and my friend go.
What? You cannot truly believe that I will fall for a trick like that. There is nothing you can know. There is nothing you can bargain with. I will not enter into any deal with a useless creature like you. I will grind you underfoot, if it pleases me to do so. That is all you may expect from me. Now get out of my sight.
Alright, we need a plan and we need it quickly. We could just pick up this axe and go murder Surstan. Except this is an adventure game and things are never that easy, or sensible. We need to have a much smarter plan, possibly, and this is just a shot in the dark, involving helping a blacksmith by flooding a garden to get earthworms that we can use to distract an annoying crow. Well, at least there hasn't been a really obnoxious maze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, there we go. And it should be no surprise either that it's one of those really evil ones that often have you doing things like go back through the door you just came out of, because clearly anyone who's played this far into Mystery of the Druids has to be punished. But then right afterwards, rewarded, because finally Surstan comes to the realization that, just maybe, letting the only man who knows his plan and can stop him wander freely isn't that great of an idea, forcing a dramatic escape that can only be described as this.
Right, let's get out of here.
But how?
Here, with this parachute.
What's going on in there?
Well, come on, damn it!
We will fall to our death.
But we've got no alternative but to jump. Now hold on! Do you hear that? What is it? Maglar!
Now, unfortunately for us, Maglaw isn't doing so great, and unfortunately for him, I don't care even a little bit. But surely, if you can hear his words over the sound of the suddenly obnoxiously loud background music, he has some, maybe, druidic secret that you can use. What's that? He does! He wants you to bring him some mistletoe. Wait, he wants a kiss? No, wait. It will, he claims, cure his serious injuries, and then he dies of them. Weird to just sort of bring that up out of nowhere. Anyway, it's time to end this turkey. To perform his ritual, Surstan requires a magic staff from these two temples, which he hasn't already gone and brought into his sanctuary because... reasons. And I think we all know what temples in adventure games mean. Shall we fast forward through this bit? Yes we shall. To cut a long, very boring sequence short, all we need to collect are the various elements. Earth, fire, air, water.
The power is yours! What are you doing?
Melanie!
Brent! He's going to kill me!
And once again, by adventuring lore, the only thing that acquiring the stuff that the villain needs to complete his plan achieves is for him to show up and for us to have to hand it over. So that was pointless. Surstan now has everything he needs to destroy the entire world, and spares our heroes not because they actually have any leverage over him, but because they haven't bothered him enough to actually care about.
Listen, Surstan. I'll give you the staff on one condition. You must swear that nothing will happen to either Melanie or me afterwards.
What? That is your condition?
Swear on your honor.
It doesn't mean anything to me whether you sad creatures live or die. If you really want to hear it, I swear it.
On your honor.
On my honor.
Okay, now let Melanie go.
Give me the staff.
I'll put her down here as soon as you let her go. Come here, Melanie.
Now our fates will be sealed. The ritual may begin. But first, I will take care of you two. You miserable fools! Ha! 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 Ha!
Hey! Huh. And then... this happens. The hourglass ran out of sand, even though at no point were we told that that would happen? Huh. Well, with absolutely nothing apparently achieved in the past then, it looks like our only hope is to get from Glastonbury to Stonehenge before Lord Sinclair can complete the ritual started in the past. And since I'm guessing Halligan is now out of gas, it looks like we have to run there.
Sinclair! Mr. Halligan, have you come to witness our finest hour? Very well, my friend. You are most welcome to come and watch.
Damn it!
The time has come. Let us begin.
Okay, now you're probably wondering what our hero is going to do now. Now, I'll give a little bit away. This is the ending. This is what you're meant to do. We haven't missed anything or forgotten everything. This is how it ends. I'd like you to guess. Seriously, guess what Halligan does. Take 3 guesses. Take 30 guesses. I guarantee you are not going to get this. Okay? Have you had enough time? Here it comes. Oh, and it involves garden shears.
Ah! Brent! Oh.
Surstan! The vow is broken!
I am calling all of the bullshit on this. All of it. Even if we accept that the basic idea is solid, and it so isn't, what kind of hero gives up the chance to self-sacrifice by stabbing his love interest? At what point did Surston ever come across as a guy with honour who might care about this? Hint, not the part where he tries to kill them anyway. When did evil druidic magic come to be predicated on its practitioner's accordance with the pinky swear? God damn you, Halligan, you are the worst hero ever. If reincarnation exists, you are coming back as a tequila worm. But of course we can't end it there, can we? Remember the mistletoe? Yes, it's time for one more bit of random druidic magic to save the day. Despite it utterly failing last time, Halligan not being a druid, not knowing if it should be applied to the wound, mulched up into a paste, taken with words or taken as a suppository. It's all okay, because apparently just slapping mistletoe onto a fatal stab wound is enough to cure anything. How in the hell has medical science missed that? And as if this wasn't already the most insulting ending that I have ever played that's not Les Man in Search for the King, look here as Melanie wakes up and is all, so, hey, did we win? And Halligan's all, oh, shush. Don't you waste those pretty little lips on talking. If Mystery of the Druids was going to have any chance of ending on a high note, it would involve the credits being played out over her chasing him around Stonehenge and kicking his balls concave. Halligan, you utter piece of shit. And speaking of pieces of shit, here's the song that plays over the credits.
The kiss that she gave, the touch of those lips were real. And anyone who has a heart.
And that, friends, was Mystery of the Druids, the kind of adventure that makes you regret evolving a hand capable of pointing and clicking. Its puzzles, garbage. Its characters, awful. Its dialogues, ugh. If not for the amusement of its idiocy, yes, it would indeed be one of the worst adventure games that I've ever played. Still, if there is one good thing, at least we now know what's going on with that cover. He's not screaming in horror, he's just turning his nose up at how much his game stinks. If only we'd taken the hint.